All right, we are live, and I'm very excited to introduce you all to today's guest. On today's episode, I interview a mother, a traditional herbalist, a women's circle facilitator, and co-founder of Mondweib, a natural healing shop for herbal mixtures, elixirs, ointments, and more. Welcome to the Winner Circle, Alina Riebel.
Hi, happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me today.
Yes, I'm excited to chat with you and learn all about your hero's journey to now. The goal of these conversations is to uplift, inspire, and empower listeners to move forward with greater faith and belief in themselves on their hero's journeys ahead. And yeah, the conversations are generally pretty positive. And this first question sets us up as such. Alina, what do you love about your personal world right now? Not about the external world, but your personal world. What do you love about that?
Oh, that's a hard question actually, but I'm trying to answer it. I guess it's seeing myself changing, slowly changing, but changing, in terms of coming into a complete new chapter, because motherhood is changing. It's changing deeply, and it's bringing up stuff in myself that I thought I had healed, which I have actually not healed already. And yeah, it's amazing to see how my son is bringing that up for me, and how I am willing to look at all those shadow sides that have not healed yet, um, to not pass it on to my son and my future baby.
Mhm.
So yeah, that this journey of motherhood is really taking me a step deeper into healing. Yes,
Mm.
this
Thanks
is
for
my
sh
favorite
thanks,
part.
Thanks for sharing that. I just had this conversation with a recent guest about maybe the sticky stuff that we are faced with never really goes away.
Mm,
They're always just kind of floating around, but we have the ability just to acknowledge and let them pass. But I think everything is always there. Our capacity just to let things go. Um, just strengthens, I believe. So I don't know
mm,
if it's possible to fully let go of anything, maybe. But from my experience, I think it's always kind of just circling around and then just noticing, that doesn't serve me and letting it go and and by doing so, it just decreases the strength of those things, the
mm.
stickiness of those things.
It gets lighter over time. I don't know if it vanishes completely, but it gets lighter, and the more it circles back to you, you're learning something new about that sticky thing, and changing like a little bit of your behavior towards it. So like erasing it step by step, and putting it back in the corner where it doesn't bother you in your life anymore, but it's still there as a reminder, maybe like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So in your bio, I mentioned like a lot of roles you hold, like mother, herbalist, woman's circle facilitator, co-founder of Mondweib, your partner, your daughter, your friend. In all the titles, all the hats that you wear, what would you say would be your overarching mission, your personal mission that guides you in everything that you do?
mm, I think it's a work for women, as a woman myself. Like the way I have been experiencing becoming a woman throughout my life, and all the pieces that have led me to who I am today, being able to pass it on to other women so that they can, mm, like heal as well. Like healing never stops. That's not the point, but I want to pass on the stuff that I have been going through and how I went through it, especially on, from woman to woman. That's I
Hmm.
think that's the central point of it. That
Okay.
connects everything that I do.
Hmm. So, what does it mean to you to be a woman? What is a woman?
Okay, simply spoken, a woman is like biologically an XY chromosome person. So yeah, a woman is someone who is deeply in her feminine, um, in that yin energy, that soft yin energy, who doesn't have to be on the masculine young side, who's really able to embody that feminine in herself, and that has a lot of aspects to it. I mean, for me, being a woman also means being a mother, which is not for every woman that I know, but it's like that cyclical being that you are, in that feminine cyclical being that you are throughout your life. That is a woman for me. So living in that feminine energy that is making you soft but strong. Um, yeah, I think that's.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a great definition. So, what are you trying to, what is the stuff you're trying to pass on to like women in the women circles you facilitate and the work that you do? What is, what are kind of those things that you're trying to share with others?
I think it's all the steps throughout life, and the initiations into womanhood. And I would say the first initiation, which is really not honored enough in our world, is when girls are having their first period. I had I had the luck to have a mom who really honored that, and where it did not feel weird that I would start bleeding, but knowing that my body is doing an amazing thing, and I'm like, with bleeding, I'm able to pass on, like, give life. Like, this is like blood is life in this case, and I think this is one of the things that I want to like give to young girls, that this is not gross like it's seen in this world. It's something you have to hide, but it's your first initiation into womanhood, into being like this strong, life-giving, yeah, wonderful being that we are. And that goes on. Like, my central part of this womanhood stuff is becoming a mom, being pregnant and giving birth. So I think is a big passion of myself. um but it goes on. I mean, I can't teach about the things I haven't experienced yet, so I don't know how it is to go from mother to crone, but I can tell what it is to go from girl, like, to a woman, and from woman to mother, like those three archetypes, the virgin, mother, crone. And I haven't experienced all of it, but I can give like knowledge from what I have experienced yet, and the struggles and the beautiful things that you're going through when you're becoming a woman, and finding out what you are as a woman, what it means for yourself to be a woman. And I have seen myself struggling, especially in my teenage years, where I didn't really know what it meant to be a woman, and that there were also phases I didn't want to be a girl, because I thought it was easier to not be that weird, emotional whatever. But I discovered how much strength it has in itself to be that emotional being that I am, and to see that, yeah, being that, um yeah, being full of emotions and feelings is not a weakness but a strength that I can,
Hmm.
yeah, that I can use to, yeah, to feel embodied in my womanhood. And I want to pass that on. I want to
Hmm.
give that
Hmm.
to other women.
So, how do we do that? So is that the responsibility of like the academic system? Is that the responsibility of parents? Is it the responsibility of everyone? Yeah, how do we ensure? that for our future, our girls, our future women? How do we teach this?
I think the most important part is mother and daughter relationship here,
Hmm.
because that is the most direct way to make sure our future generation of women, spoken our daughters, um, knows how powerful they are and are not ashamed of being a woman, not ashamed of having all those emotions, the bleeding, the like the things that are like said to be a weakness in our society, which is not, like finding our way back to, yeah, to being in our embodied womanhood. And I think to be able to pass it on to our daughters, women have to heal from all the masculinity that tells them to be the same as man, which will never be, and man will never be woman. And that's good, because that is like the balance in this world, the yin yang energy balance. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think also men play a part in healing that, because they also have to heal their own masculinity, so that those two energies can really live together and uplift each other, because men can't live without women and women can't live without man. It's like, yeah, it's like an ecosystem of those energies. And if both
Hmm.
energies are healed, we can heal our next generation. But healing starts in ourselves so that we can pass it on. So, in fact, it's a responsibility of everyone.
Hmm. Hmm. So what happens, like, how does this work for women that don't have like a good uh a mother role model, or a mother that's capable of teaching them the power of womanhood? Like, I've heard a story from a friend who was talking about how, like, when she had her first like period, her mother didn't like say anything. Like, her mother literally just said, "Oh, here's like a tampon. Like, you learned about this in school, right?" And then, like, that was really the gist of that. Or yeah, so like for a man that doesn't have like that healthy um male role model that teach them about the masculinity, when we're not taught this, how could, yeah, what do we do?
I mean, those role models doesn't have to be the parents. They are not capable of this. That's why I'm doing this work, because I want to give young girls the possibility to have a role model who's showing them that. So you could, as a like a woman's worker, like a woman who works for women, could facilitate circles for young women to teach them about the sanctity of bleeding, because that is. Um, I have heard a lot of stories like you have told me before, and that's what I want to like erase from this story of the society, that there are no possibilities for young girls to have a role model. And that's what I mean with it's the responsibility of everyone, because if you have this knowledge, you can pass it on to the ones who don't have a role model, like
Mm-hmm.
opening up spaces for girls, opening up spaces for women, so that the word can be spread, the work can be spread as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I literally can't save everyone. That's for sure. But if I teach a few, and they will teach a few, it will spread. So that's what my mission is, in a way, like spread it. Because I
Mm-hmm.
can't do everything, but if I reach like 5 women, and they will reach 5 women, and so on, it's gonna spread, and girls are gonna have role models that doesn't have to be their mothers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think,
So
yeah.
so that's one way to heal our feminine and our masculine, is to surround ourselves with people with knowledge, with role models, and
Mm,
to bring awareness to what that is to be the healthy masculine and the healthy feminine.
yes,
Correct?
yes. so that
Perfect.
girls will really see. I mean, even like you don't have to even know the one who may inspire you. So just imagine you are somewhere in a park and you're a little girl and you overhear a conversation where women talk positively about their period. Maybe
Yeah.
that's how it impact them. I mean, positive stuff can impact you as much as negative stuff can. So if they
Yeah.
overhear something bad, they might like integrate that bad thought. But if they hear something positive and see other women act in a in a loving way towards their body, that might may inspire them too. So you can like change someone's life without even knowing it because someone overhears your conversation where you talk positively about yourself, about
Hmm.
your body.
So it's about being the change,
Yes,
being the change you wish to see.
perfect.
That can lead to great impact and influence on our world.
Yes.
So, Alina, what have you learned that you know now that you did not know prior to actually becoming a mother? So you have a son, Yeshua. I think how old is Yeshua?
14 months he's now.
14 months, and you're pregnant with a child currently.
Yes,
And
right now.
that, how long are you?
I'm in week 16, so almost 5 months
Okay,
pregnant.
and you don't have to answer this, but do you know if it's like a boy or a girl, your second child yet?
Like I don't know because I don't do any tests or ultrasounds or something like that, but I have a strong feeling that this time it's going to be a girl.
Okay. So what have you learned since becoming a mother that you did not know previously?
I mean, I experienced birth, and that is a life-changing experience. You can't really know about if you haven't felt it. Um, and it's so powerful. I sometimes forget how powerful it was. I don't know if it makes sense, but like it's so overwhelmingly powerful that I sometimes just like, yeah, okay, I birthed a child, but like I birthed a child. Like, that difference. Like I feel like it's the easiest thing I've ever done, and at the same time it's like the most magnificent thing I've ever done. It felt so not natural to me, but still like so amazing. I can't even sometimes I can't even believe I did it. And then I just look at
Uh-huh.
my child and I see it. And what I also could have not imagined, like I couldn't have imagined how it is to have a child. Like you can have babysitted, you can have friends with babies, but having your own child is a completely different love story. Like can be no, not just can be. It is so intensive. You can't prepare for those feelings. That's something I've learned that I haven't known before. How intensive those feelings of love can be. Also, like exhaustion and stuff. I mean that nobody tells you that either. Um, how exhausting it can be to just be like responsible for a human being that you created like all the time. And sometimes this responsibility is so huge you don't want to have it because you don't want to destroy anything in your child, but at the same time you're gonna fuck up, and that's okay. And I think
Uh-huh.
I didn't really realize it. I wanted to make it so perfect that I didn't realize that I will fuck up, and that is okay. And I still struggle with that sometimes. But that
Hmm.
is actually something that I, even if like even people told me about it, especially my mom, like it's okay, you're gonna fuck up, and that's okay. But I didn't believe her, and I really needed to experience that myself to believe that not everything is gonna be perfect, and it's still perfect.
Hmm. That's beautiful. Um, so having a second child on the way, do you think it will be easier with the second, or will it just be different?
Mm, yeah, I think it's gonna be just different. I don't know if it's gonna be easier or harder. I mean, my life already flipped upside down, so it can't flip that upside down anymore because like before I had no child and I had no clue, and now I have a child and have a little clue. Um, but still, that's gonna add a completely different dynamic I can't predict. Like, yeah, some things may get easier because I know like a routine in caring for a child in a way, but I have routine in caring for one child, not for two. That I mean, that's gonna add a completely different spice to it. And I don't know this child. It can be as wild as my first one. It can be completely calm. So like, how are those two gonna work together? How is this whole dynamic changing our family? It's like so many unpredictable things. I don't know if it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be. I think it's just gonna be different.
Yeah. What about for the birthing process? Is that going to be same or different? I have a good friend Tracy, and she's having her second child coming up soon, and she had her first baby in the hospital, and then this time through, she's like, I absolutely will not be doing that. I'm going to
Hmm.
do this at home, and a different birthing process because of, like she learned from the first experience. How about yourself? Like, how was that first birthing experience? Like, was it at the hospital? Was it at home? And then the second one, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different? Yeah, so let's get into that.
Okay, so my first child was born at home. Um, it was never an option for me to go to the hospital. Um, and I also birthed that baby without any medical help. So it was just me and my partner, actually, alone at home. And okay, my mom on the phone in the end because I needed some female voice that would tell me I can do it. But yeah, it was at home alone. I had a midwife in the background in case there would have something happen where it would have needed help. But I didn't call her. I did plan on not calling her, but like there was a bit of a yeah, my I'd say my family was a bit, they were not concerned, but they were more relaxed with knowing that there was a midwife in the background. Even if I knew I would not call her, I was like, okay, good, I have one in the background. Um, but I never felt like I needed her, and that was right. And this time, I am having completely no support from the beginning. Like I have no midwife on the way. I've done no testing at all. I will not go to the gynecologist. I haven't done that before as well. And this time there is gonna be my best friend present at the birth because we just need some help. It's like not possible to do it alone this time because we have a child already, and my mom's gonna be there. So female supported home birth alone again, and I think it's gonna be entirely different because there's already a child. Um, and I feel like this baby is also a completely different character than Yeshua is. So I'm really excited to experience how birth is going to be this time because like I already experienced one birth, so I have an idea of how birth is in general, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that any birth is like the other.
Mm-hmm. Yes, no, it's a very beautiful story so far. I'm about to bring up something that maybe is a little less beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I had your partner Felix on the last conversation here, and he talked about before the birth of Yeshua, you were pregnant and you had like you lost the child. So you want to
Yeah,
get
that's right.
into like the learning of that and the devastation of that and kind of how you move through that.
So yeah, that's right. I've been pregnant before and I lost a baby like pretty early, I would say week 9. It was a long process of losing the baby that I have been doing mostly at home. And it took me some time until I realized that I am losing the baby. Like I was trying to convince myself that everything is fine, even if I was bleeding. And I just really didn't want to lose this baby. Like I was in denial for some time. Um, it was a hard process to go through, but I think like my spiritual understanding of that everything that happens has a reason and is happening, it's just happening for a reason. I try to like move through that process with an understanding of hmm, this baby had a mission, even if I don't understand it yet, but it was its mission to not stay on this planet. Just come for short visit and tell me something. And I'm pretty sure that like this baby was clearing my wound space, like clearing my body from trauma experiences, pain, stuff that didn't belong to me anymore through bleeding because blood is um is clearing for the body. And as soon as I could accept that this baby was like helping me to have a clean and clear space for my future babies, I was starting to be thankful for its job that the baby has done. And it didn't take long until I was pregnant again. In fact, it was I think it was like until from the point on the bleeding completely stopped to me being pregnant again, it was a month. So that was pretty quick. Mm, I can remember that I have been hmm, searching for the right word, but there was like a little bit of fear in the beginning of the pregnancy because like I was expecting like my inner voice was expecting that there will be blood soon. So because I experienced it the last time, I was like expecting that it would happen again, especially until the week that I lost the first child. So the first 9 weeks, I was really like in a fearful state. I was trying to not be in a fearful state, but I really couldn't like hold it back. But it changed when this week passed and the baby was still there. And then I started to like move into trust. But I was like the whole pregnancy, I was really like in that everything is fine, but still having the thought of what if it happens again. So that was there. It wasn't there at birth at all, but it was there for pregnancy. And now with that pregnancy, I feel that I have released it to birth because I have no fear at all. I'm like so relaxed, and every time I'm like thinking about if the baby's okay, I'm just checking in with it, like asking, "Are you okay?" And then I get like in the beginning, I was just like getting a feeling. Now I get kicks back. So it's like conversation on the inner world, and that's giving me peace that I have moved through that fear, and now I'm in a trust state of everything is okay. And just because it happened one time, it doesn't have to happen again. And if so, it will have a reason why it's happening.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Um, this podcast, these conversations are called Welcome to the Winner Circle. We'll now discuss what it means to be winning and to be a winner. For me, winning used to mean like being in the process versus the destination, being process orientated rather than destination orientated. But it's since evolved to not only like being in the process, but it's full dissolving in that process. You're so immersed in the now that you disappear from your egoic self and you're just being and doing in unison without knowledge. Like you're just pure in flow in the present, just so immersed in that process with total faith and humility. Ishvara pranayana is one of the niyamas in yoga, and that's like a humble surrendering to faith to a higher power. So that is what winning means to me now, is just totally surrendering to faith with humility in the present process, dissolves from the self, um, in unison with all. So that, yeah, to me, that is winning, and to be a winner is doing that, being present, starting there and building from that. What does winning mean to you, and what does that look like for you in your life today?
I think it's kind of like a similar approach you have. I would have expressed it differently. For me, winning is celebrating the little steps. Like, and I mean, it's kind of the same as your process explanation. Um, but yeah, it's a little step for me. Like every time you you achieve something that feels good for you, that feels like this is bringing you further to yourself, that's a win for me. So
Mm-hmm.
trying to acknowledge and celebrate the little things that mean something to yourself. Because if it's big or small, it's a different story for everyone. Like when that win is a win for yourself, like a step towards the direction you want to move to, that's a win for
Mm,
me.
beautiful. And so, what does winning look like for you in your life today? Like, what are the things that you are doing with your time, in the now, in your win?
Mm, so, I mean, a big part of my life is my baby right now,
Yeah.
obviously. Um, so what winning is for me right now in terms of my baby is every time I see that my like bits of my behavior that I don't like are changing, um, so that I can be like a better mom for my child, that I am proud of. You know, that's winning for me in terms of my child. And also, I am trying with the little time and space that that I have left, to take little steps into being more self-sufficient. Um, Speaking about like what you mentioned before, like our herbal shop, as well as my women's work, trying to facilitate my work in that direction because that doesn't feel like it's not work for me. It's like my calling, and I want to feel like I'm able to like share what my heart wants to tell, and that's
Mm-hmm,
women's work and herbalism. So
mm-hmm,
yeah, bringing that out into the world, sharing myself, that is that is winning for me right now.
mm-hmm. So we talked about your woman's work a bit, about
Mm-hmm.
the facilitation you're doing. Let's spend a bit of time on Mondweib, um, your natural healing shop with herbal mixtures, elixirs, ointments, and more. So let's just talk about, let's go way back before the shop, and let's just talk about your entry into that world, about herbal mixtures, elixirs, ointments, how that came into your life, and then how that transitioned into being a business you and your partner created.
Started with my mom. So I've been growing up with a lot of natural remedies, um, and I was always like I've always been surrounded by natural remedies, because my mom was using them a lot. But it wasn't until I think I don't know something like 5 years ago where I like actively started to ask my mom if she could like teach me what she knows. And so we started like taking hikes, and she would explain me the names of the herbs and what you could use it for and how to prepare them as medicine. So yeah, basically my mom taught me a lot of it, and I was so intrigued by it that it was like feeling so real for me because I didn't want to engage in like the medical pharmaceutical system, but still wanted to know how I am able to heal um, with natural remedies, like myself, my friends, my future kids. Um, and I was like so fascinated by plants, and they were really getting my friends. I was spending so much time in nature, which really like calmed me down. My inner peace was growing from just being with plants, which is still like my retreatment, I would say, when I'm like out of balance. I'm just like going to my herbal cabinet and working with my plants, and that calms me down a lot. So that was my entry into that world. Um, and I've been doing stuff for my friends and family for years, like preparing tinctures and salves and like the basic stuff is teas, learning other preparements like oxymales. Um, there's a lot of stuff you can do like with herbs, and it wasn't until the birth after the birth of our son, um, where my partner encouraged me that we should like get that out to other people, not just friends and family. So if it wasn't for my partner, I wouldn't have done it actually. But he encouraged me, and we started with my herbal preparation that is kind of like a coffee alternative because when I got pregnant, I couldn't smell coffee anymore, but I still wanted that hot beverage feeling in the morning. So I was
Hmm.
mixing up an herbal coffee with mushrooms and like medicinal mushrooms and herbs, and then we started it. That's how we got into working as like the owners of an herbal shop. Yeah,
Hmm.
that really is fun.
That's incredible. I want to talk more about some of these preparations and tinctures and teas. Let's start with the coffee substitute. So what kind of mushrooms do you use? Like what kind of mushrooms do you use for that and herbs? Like what
I
explain that product?
I use the chaga mushroom and the reishi mushroom. I don't know if you ever heard about that. It's
Yeah.
getting quite famous right now. Like you can see them pop up everywhere, like those medicinal mushrooms that are pretty good for your health. And I mean, that's true, they are.
Hmm.
So I have those two in my coffee and a few other herbs, so that I wanted to create like coffee substitute in terms of it should taste a little bit like coffee, but not too much. Like I would wanted to create bitterness, but I also wanted to create something that would give you energy, like will be good for your digestion, for your nervous system, for your overall health, because coffee doesn't do that. Like it's actually not that good for your health, especially not for the hormonal balances of women. And
Hmm.
that was what I was creating it for, so that moms can still enjoy their hot beverage, um, but do something good for their body instead of like putting an extra stress and pregnancy on them and then
Hmm.
postpartum. So,
Hmm.
great.
So for the chaga, do you source that yourself? Like do you get that from the trees yourself or do you get it from a supplier?
We get it from a supplier. Chaga only grows in very cold areas, um, so it wouldn't grow here. Not not in the maybe you find one when it's pretty cold, but normally they grow in like the cold areas of Russia and like the northern parts of Europe, and they also grow in China on birch trees, and you can't cultivate them. Like this is a completely wild mushroom that
Yeah.
like you can't put spores anywhere and they will grow, but they grow anywhere where they want to. And we source it from a little family in uh, Estonia. That's how you. I think that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yes, right. Um, so yeah, that's like we're in contact with the owner, and they're pretty cute there, and it's just like they do that in their family, so it's coming from one family to another, and
Hmm.
I like that. I mean, that's like the idea for future that all the products that we use for our coffee will be sourced from families. Right now, it wasn't possible because it's like it was a big investment in itself to start that whole business, but we wanna like work towards working with families so that it's little
Mhm.
businesses to little businesses.
Yeah, that's really nice. So chaga is one of the mushrooms you use. So let's talk about the medicinal benefits of chaga. Like it's very good for the gut, I believe. Yeah, like why is chaga a good mushroom for people to invest their health in?
I mean, you already mentioned one point. It's the gut, and that's one of the main abilities that the chaga mushroom has. But it's also an adaptogen. That means that it helps you to like process your stress, but also makes you more um like I'm missing English words for that right now. But makes you more resistant to stress, like your ability to work through stress. That is what an adaptogen does. So it adapts to the needs of your nervous system somehow.
Yeah, it helps you be more resilient.
Right, that was the word I was searching for. Thank you.
Yes,
um,
and yeah.
and also, yeah, as you said, for the gut, and as you may know, like the gut is connected to the skin. So you have skin irritational problems that are um, from the gut. If you heal your gut, that's going to be like helping your skin as well. And also, where chaga is actually helping pretty well is in cancer therapy. So that's also um, okay, I'm starting to miss some English words. I'm sorry.
Oh,
um,
it's perfect.
yeah, and but it's also in in science they prove that chaga is helping in cancer treatments. So as a like additional help for the chemotherapies, it's helping to reduce the size of the tumor and helping that the tumor will stay away. So you can also use it as a treatment after chemotherapy so that the cancer won't come back again. And
Mhm.
especially because of its ability to heal the gut, um, like for cancers that are in the like digestive area.
Yeah, mushrooms are so incredible about all
They
the
are.
amazing things they could do. Reishi is another one in your herbal
Yes,
preparation, and reishi is like said to be the king of mushrooms.
that's one of my
Um,
favorites. That's
yeah, what are the benefits of reishi mushroom?
like the biggest benefit I would say is like the nervous system restoration. Like it's so good on your nerves. It's gonna help you so much to fill up everything that's missing from like your resilience in your nervous system, so that you're gonna be more chill or calm or in your like in a peace state of mind. That's like I think the most amazing part of or the most famous part that reishi is having. And what I also love about it, it's used in Chinese medicine a lot for pregnant mamas and babies. And when you are taking reishi throughout your pregnancy, then you get a like that you have that you then have a reishi baby, which is said to be very calm, alert, like look like they're wise beyond their years. And that's very traditional in the Chinese medicine. And I have also been taking reishi throughout my first pregnancy, and I'm doing it now. And I also give it to my baby, and I can really see a difference when I forget to give it to him. He's less calm. So
Hmm.
it's like it's amazing how it works on the nervous system.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I had this guy on my podcast. His name's Sky Chilton, and he has a company in Canada called Real Mushrooms. And he
Mm-hmm.
talks about how a lot of the mushroom supplements out there aren't really mushrooms. It's a lot of companies they
Mycelium, they
say
also mm-hmm. They use
they
the
say it.
mycelium a lot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, would you want to get talk about that and kind of explain that a bit more because it's good knowledge for people to hear.
Mhm. So the mycelium is like not really helping anyone. It's the fruiting body that you need.
Yeah.
And and the thing with the mushroom products on the market that don't work is often that they're just powdered mushrooms. Like the fruiting body is dried and then powdered down, and you won't have any effect of that. That will be even harder on your digestive system to just swallow the powders, because the most active component of a mushroom are the polysaccharides, and polysaccharides get activated through heat. So you have to heat a mushroom to get the benefits out of it. And that's the problem with most of the powders, because they're just powders. And you need minimal at minimum a dual extraction. So you need to extract with heat, which is mostly happening over like heating the mushroom in hot water. So you get the polysaccharides out of it. And then you can like make them stable through the alcohol extraction. So you have a dual extraction. And when you then powder that extract down, you have a working powder, because that is the extraction of the mushroom where the active compounds are in it. But if you just powder it down, you're gonna have no benefit from it. And that's the problem with mushroom products on the market mostly.
Okay, so yeah, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just like sewing my my last part of this.
Yeah. So like if I'm just trying to think like so some of this real mushroom powder that I use, I'm assuming it has already been through this heat process, or you're saying all forms of powder has to be re-put into heat, or it's in the manufacture and it's heated, and then yeah, could you kind of explain that?
So only the powdered down stuff that is sold, you can just like not use as a powder in a capsule. If you heat it like in a tea or something, that will work.
Okay.
So the main point is that you have to heat it. But if you want to swallow capsules with powder in it, you have to have the extract powder, otherwise it won't work for you. If you have like normal like mushroom powder, then you
Yeah.
have to heat it first. But there's another thing with like powders, that there is so much area that can be like destroyed from oxygen and sunlight, that it's best to store mushrooms in bigger parts, so that the
Yeah.
surface area is small, but it gets bigger if you powder it down. So if you don't know how long this powder has been stored, and if it has been yeah, in the sun, in light, in oxygen, it's gonna lose potency. So this powder stuff is like, it is convenient because you can just like put it in somewhere, or you can swallow it through capsules. But if you're really interested in a medicinal effect, you should invest a little more and buy the extract powders or the liquid extracts, so that
Okay.
you really get the best out of the mushrooms.
So extract powders, and so if it's an extract powder, you don't have to reheat it then?
No, you don't have to reheat it.
Okay, and then there's also the extract mushrooms, the liquid
Yeah.
mushroom extract. So which ones do you offer for Mondweib? Is it both? You have the extract powders and also the liquid powders? Like what are some other
We
um,
only have liquid extracts, because we're doing that really like we're making it all by hand, and the drying process to make extract powder from an extract that was liquid before, we don't have like the possibility to do that. It's
okay,
just
okay.
pretty,
So
it's not complicated, but you have to have like the possibilities to do that. So we have the liquid extract, but I'm doing a triple extract, so one step further.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I learned it
So
from one of my teachers, so that's her method. I don't want to
okay,
steal it. Like I am allowed to use it, but like I learned that method from one of my herbal teachers. Um,
amazing.
and yeah, that's the method I'm using. I'm doing not just a dual extract, but I'm doing a triple extract.
With what mushrooms? Which mushrooms are you giving those triple extracts that you're
We
offering
have
in the
chaga, reishi, and we're gonna add lion's mane soon.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, because I was going to tell you about the mushrooms that I use.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like lion's mane. Let's talk about lion's mane. That's a product you guys are going to
Mm-hmm.
be soon offering. So yeah, tell me what you know about lion's mane, the benefits of that.
Lion's mane is the mushroom for your brain. Like
Mm.
it's even able to regenerate your brain cells. So it's used a lot in um, the treatment for Alzheimer's. and it has shown really amazing effects. And it has shown that if you stop taking lion's mane when you have Alzheimer's, your symptoms start to show up again. So it's really actively working as long as you take it. And that's one of the things of mushrooms in general. You have to take it regularly because they start to adapt to what you need. Like they work over time. It's like not a one-time remedy that you take and everything is fine, but you got to work with them. But yes, lion's mane is such a wonderful mushroom for your brain, your concentration, even for your kids if they're like not able to focus, for ADHD, like all stuff that is like brain and concentration wise. That's the um perfect mushroom for that, for your cognition.
Yes. Another mushroom that I really like, and I feel it's different from these other mushrooms we talk about, because I literally feel the effect of it immediately. Whereas with lion's mane, chaga, reishi, like I think it's like it's something you have to take for a prolonged period of time,
Yeah.
and the effect is not as tangible. Whereas this one, I feel right away, and it's cordyceps M.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know much about cordyceps M?
I know cordyceps. I've taken it before as an extract powder, but I haven't gotten my hands on a good cordyceps source so that I could make an extract myself.
Yeah, I feel it gives me energy, and like when I do sports or martial arts, like it just
Mm-hmm.
gives me an extra boost that was like I just feel unlimited energy, and it's something I feel like
Yeah,
right away.
yeah.
Um,
It can also be that you feel the effects of the other mushrooms right immediately if you're really sensitive to herbs. Some
yeah,
people really feel it immediately, some take longer. Like it really depends on how receptive your body is to herbs.
true.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
maybe that mushroom is just like really good for your system, you know?
Yeah,
If it's like communicating with your system. I believe like every plant has a soul, and if that soul is like matching to your energy frequency, your energy system, it may work faster or may work better. Or some mushrooms that you don't need for your system, you will have no effect of because you don't really need it.
yeah. No, I appreciate that. So those are some of the mushrooms, chaga, reishi, lion's mane, cordyceps M that I've experienced with. Are there any other mushrooms that we haven't talked about that you are a fan of?
I also like turkey tail.
Oh
I don't know if
yes, I've
you
tried.
heard about it.
Yeah, yeah, I've
Um,
tried that before.
yes,
What's the benefits of turkey tail?
that's the immune, the modulatory mushroom. So it's
Hmm.
really helping your immune system build up again. And the amazing thing about all the mushrooms that work with the immune system, it's not just boosting your immune system, because if you just take something that's boosting your immune system, it may be overstimulated. But mushrooms are really smart, and they like put in the effort that your immune system needs, if you want to say it like that. But they won't overstimulate it, so they will like fill up your immune system tank in a way, but not put in too much so that your immune system is not starting to overreact. So, and one of
Yes.
the immune system modulatory mushrooms is turkey tail, so you can also use it very good for cancer therapy. So you can
Mhm.
like also combine, of course, the mushrooms, but turkey tail, reishi, chaga, like this combination could be working for cancer really good.
That's also fascinating. So those are some of the mushrooms. What are some of the herbs and tinctures and teas that you are making available to your clients with Mondweib?
Our shop isn't too big yet.
Yeah,
So we have the mushroom extract, and we have like this coffee replacement. Um, because we are working on making like having everything organic, and in Germany you have to go through quite a process to get the organic certified, um, yeah, the stamp for it. So that
yeah,
are the only products that we offer in our shop. But of course, I'm doing a lot of stuff myself.
yeah. And what are
And
those? What are your favorite herbs that you like to work with personally?
personally,
And
um,
tinctures, yeah.
yeah, personally, my favorite, one of my favorite herbs, might be motherwort, I guess.
Okay, I don't know much
Have
about
you ever
that.
heard about it?
No.
Um, I've been using it a lot during postpartum. It's like so restorative for this whole integration process of becoming a mom, um, and also helping you with like after pains from birth. That is like the perfect combination for postpartum. So it's also helping you with like feelings of anxiety because there's like this new situation going on, and you want to adapt to what's going on around you, and this herb is really helping you, like as you see from the name, it's mother word, like it's that word for moms.
Hmm.
But also it's very good for the heart, like it's a very good heart tonic for all heart conditions, so you can use it also for that, or like um yeah, like it has an affinity to blood, to the blood regulation system. But yeah, I like it
Okay.
for, especially like it for like the benefits that it has for moms postpartum.
Hmm. Another mushroom that I've had like a success with in my personal life has been psilocybin mushroom. So no longer an adaptogenic mushroom;
Yes,
it's a
yes.
psychedelic mushroom, and I've had a positive experience with it both in macro and micro doses. What do you know about that medicine?
I have tried it myself as well. I am not too susceptible to the macro doses because I'm starting to get very sick to my stomach from that, but I love doing it in micro doses. And
Hmm.
I feel that's like really helping me to facilitate my inner peace. That's what I feel from them. Like they are working like on your soul. They're like putting like a
Yeah.
soft blanket over your soul, and helping you to feel more connected to your inner voice. That's what I feel about them.
Ah, yeah, that was such a good description, and I would agree. A
Yeah.
soft blanket for the soul. Yeah, it's very powerful. So, where can people like purchase your Mondweib products from? So you have the mushroom elixirs, and then you have the herbal preparation right now. So yeah, where's it available for people?
We have an online shop. We officially only send out to like Germany, Switzerland, and Austria from like the standard ones, but
Yeah.
we also send to other countries if there is like a request for it. Just like write
Oh,
an email. But it's available on our website. It's mond-vibe.de.
hmm. Beautiful. So we talked about fear earlier, and that's something we talked
Yeah.
about in all conversations. Like the fear arose from you, like when you had your child. After losing a child, like those first 9 weeks, you experienced fear, and you talked about kind of some learnings from fear there. What else have you learned about fear on your journey? For example, fear of creating like this business. You're saying you it was Felix that kind of pushed you into doing this. But yeah, what have you learned about fear on your journey, and how has it become an ally for you?
I think I'm still working on making it an ally for me because it feels very overwhelming from time to time. And um, regarding like maybe I can explain it through the thing with business that you already mentioned. Like I I am pretty afraid to show myself in the world. That's like pretty hard for me. So sitting here and talking with you is like facing a fear.
You're doing
uh,
great.
thank you. Um, and that was the thing with the business as well, that I was like telling myself, um, I'm not good enough for that yet. I can't be like selling my stuff until I'm not perfect, and my perfect is pretty high set, so I think I might never reach my perfect, so that I'm telling myself I could never reach my perfect set, so that I won't start doing anything. So
Hmm.
that is my challenge with fear, that I invite the fear to show me how I can like grow. and like jump over my shadows, but I'm still working on that. Like it's not gone just because we started a business. They're there.
Uh-huh. So what advice would you give to someone experiencing fear? I'm sure there's women in your women's circles that come with you with fear. What would you advise a friend who's facing fear, whether that be fear to release like their book or to start that business or to go travel? Like what advice would you have for that friend?
I don't know. I can see talents everywhere. It's pretty easy to tell my friends and the ones that I have around me to yeah, to just see their talents and tell them how good they are so that I can encourage them to step over their fear. Like I think that's my way of doing it. I don't really want to advise someone because I don't think that advice is something that's going to change someone deeply because they have to realize that themselves. That's what I see myself. If someone just gives me like an advice that will lead me to somewhere, I'm not going to take it because I have not felt it and I have not experienced it. So what I can do is reflect back to them what they are able and capable of so that they can
Mhm.
realize themselves how good they are in that.
That's incredible.
Encouraging and reflecting back their talents. And yeah, feeling.
Yes. And so throughout your journey, you've had many people who have done the same to you, that who've reflected your worth and capabilities. So let's take a moment to acknowledge some of these mentors and helpers you've met along your path. Like, I'm sure there's been many. So let's just pick a few mentors and helpers. They can be people that you've met and that you know, or maybe they're authors or teachers of that, like online. But yeah, so who are some mentors and helpers you've met along the way? Either in person or digitally, that have really influenced you on your journey? What were your main takeaways learned from them?
So I think the first one that comes to my mind is my mom, um, who's been believing in me my whole life, even if I struggled. Um, she was always there to tell me that I'm good enough to do the things I want to do. Um, yeah, my partner is there for me all the time. I don't know if there's some like teacher or something I might have forgotten like about them.
Hmm.
But
Well, you have.
what was really helpful for my journey also was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and like that sport of learning how to yeah be in my body. I think that was something that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu taught me.
Who taught you that?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, BJJ.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it's not a person, but it's more like that whole community of people that taught me like to be in my body. I think that was really important for me.
Incredible. And then there's that herbalist that taught you how to do a triple
Yeah.
exhalation. How did you meet her? How
Well,
did that relation come to
okay,
be?
that's a long story because I came into that part of the herbal world through the free birth world. So yeah, a whole new chapter actually. Um, I have been doing a course that's called the Radical Birth Keeper School. It's from Free Birth Society. Also, two of my big teachers, Emily and Galandi, that are the owners of that school, and it's basically about sovereign midwifery. And I came to that shortly before, like a few months before I got pregnant. So I was called to yeah go into to birth work and the birth world, but I knew from the beginning that I could not be like a medical midwife or a doula or someone who is like invested in the system. And then found that school where I then started to learn about sovereign and traditional midwifery that is for the woman, actually. And through that whole community, the free birth community, I met Ariel, who's like the teacher that taught me the herbal preparation of the mushrooms. Right. So that was the journey there. And yes, yes, that was the journey to the herbal world.
Mm,
That's right.
beautiful. So, I have a final few questions that I ask every guest, and we've gotten to that point. There's another 4 questions that I like to close with, and the first one pertains to love. Through your journey as a mother, a partner, a human of this earth, what have you learned about love? What does love mean to you today?
Radical acceptance.
Mm.
I think that came to my mind first.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's about that unconditional radical acceptance of what is and
Uh-huh.
who someone is in their whole being and who something and what something is in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the beautiful part about radical acceptance, I think the most important part, and it starts with the self. So it's radical acceptance of who you are.
Mm,
And then with that, you can peer upon the world through that lens.
right. That's true. Absolutely. I agree on that.
What's one way that you step into that personally? Radical acceptance of yourself.
Through little steps, through accepting so-called mistakes, through accepting stuff that um, does not meet my inner critic expectation. Um, Starting to be learning to be humble and soft to myself.
Celebrating the small wins
Yes,
along the way.
yes.
All right. So through all the highs and lows that is this hero's journey, Alina, what would you say has been the greatest life lesson you've learned on your path thus far that you feel called to share with us in this moment?
I don't know if it's a lesson in its classical sense, but it's like an experience, and I told you about that, so I just gotta mention it shortly. But it was birthing, definitely,
Uh,
because it was the most simple yet the most humbling and intensive experience I ever had in my life.
okay.
Yeah.
So for someone that will not be able to give birth, like a male, or maybe a woman that just doesn't choose that path, either by choice or because of biology, what can they learn from this lesson of yours?
It first is about deep connection with yourself and letting go of any expectation, any influences from the outer world, and really, really being with yourself and all the parts that are there. It's about
Mm,
connecting with your baby and being in the present moment without trying to rush or flee or hide from anything that's showing up. It's like really going through what is there in front of you um, with a strong heart and as less of like logical feelings that are there. Like really, yeah, getting out of your
mm,
mind into your body, into your heart, and feeling and experiencing what is presenting there for you, what is
Mhm.
presenting there for
Yeah, what an incredible opportunity.
you. Yeah.
In 3 words, how would you describe the experience you were having on this earth? So, like, it doesn't have to be a sentence, but in just 3 separate words, what 3 words would you use to describe the experience you were having on this earth, this reality?
Wild, humbling, magnificent.
Wild, humbling, and magnificent.
Hmm.
The word that most intrigues me about these is something I'm working with is humility.
Mm.
Humbling. What does that word mean to you? Humbling.
It's for me, it's realizing that you are small and big at the same time. Um, you're you're part of something bigger, and yet you're the biggest part of your life. Like this humbling balance of realizing that you are the creator and you're part of the creation.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how I
Yeah.
would describe
Yeah, thank you for that. Final question. We've played around with time. We've examined your past. We've examined your present. Let's travel into the future and let's sit alongside an 85-year-old Alina Riebel. Who is this 85-year-old Alina? Where are you? Who are you surrounded by? What is the legacy that you've left here in your 85 years? And what are the predominant feelings in your being, in your soul?
it. Every time I get asked this question, and I have written a story about that because um, we had this exercise in the Radical Birth Keeper School. It's like this imagining your inner crone. I see myself um, sitting on like those chairs that are moving. How are they called? I don't know. Okay, I
Rocking
don't.
chair, rocking chair,
Yeah,
rocking chair,
rocking
rocking chair.
rocking chair. Right. I see myself on a rocking chair, sitting on a veranda, and watching the nature around me with children playing, animals around, my herb garden, somewhere in the wild where it's quiet and peaceful. And this image gives me so much grace and peace because that feels like I am exactly where I want to be. Like the thought of I have children, I have grandchildren, I have been a wise woman or still am a wise woman for my community. Women come to me to to seek help, to spend time with me, to sing, to celebrate, to cook, to make medicine together. And I'm just like okay with life. Like I'm so peaceful with life because I have lived my fullest and now I can relax and enjoy what I've created on this planet.
That sounds incredible. I would like you to just take a moment, maybe close your eyes and just connect with that 85-year-old woman sitting in her rocking chair on the veranda. The herb garden is nearby. Animals and children and grandchildren are there. You've been a wise woman. You are a wise woman. You're filled with grace. You're filled with peace. You're exactly where you want to be. And I'll bring us back. I'll bring us back to the present day. And that 85-year-old Alina, she sends you a message. What does she share with you in your ear?
Enjoy your life. Simple,
Haha. Hmm.
simple as that.
Mhm. Enjoy your life. Simple as that. Words and wisdom that we can all lean into a little more. Thank you, Alina. It's been such a pleasure and honor getting to know you more and to hear your incredible story too now. For people wanting to connect with you, they can find you on Instagram at Mond, _weeb, Weib, and your business, Mondweib, at Mondweib.KRAEUTEREI. Anywhere else that they can find you, or any last closing words from yourself?
That are the main connection points, I would say. Instagram and our website, where you can also send me an email. Yeah. I also want to thank.
Okay.
I also want to thank you. You gone? No, you're still
No,
there.
I'm good. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to face a fear of mine and be such a good leader through our talk. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And to close every episode, we bring our fist in, a fist bump, stepping into the winner's circle. Boom. Thank you
Boom.
so much.
Thank you.